The Window Depot, more than a window store.
Hi, this is Tina Howe from Bill Howe, where we've been serving San Diegans for over 40 years. Just like our hometown baseball team, we believe in teamwork, excellence, and delivering a win for our customers every day. From emergency plumbing repairs to routine heating and air maintenance, trust Bill Howe to keep your home running smoothly, supporting our community and our team together, because at Bill Howe, we know how.
Call 1-800-BILL-HOWE.
Bill Howe!
We know how.
The workday is coming to an end.
It is 5 o'clock. I will see you all tomorrow.
But Gwynn and Chris are just getting started.
Sports talk it is.
Your hosts, Tony Gwynn Jr.
Now, I will say, the journey, and it was a journey, to get to the press box is one of the toughest journeys I've been on.
And Chris Ello.
If he hits 2 home runs every game, including excuse me. Well, it's going to be one of those days, huh?
It's time to get you up to speed on all things sports.
Yes!
With plenty of nonsense in between.
Oh, look! Here comes our fearless producer!
Gwynn and Chris starts right now on 97.3 The Fan.
1-1. And Arise hits it on the ground the other way into left field and a base hit. Wade comes in to score. Diaz is going to try. Young's throw to the plate, and he is meat. Not particularly close, as Diaz just slid in feet first to Adams' tag.
Hey, never mind. Elias Diaz had a really good game today. A couple of hits. Also made a pretty good play there in the 9th inning on that bunt. That, by all rights, should have been a leadoff bunt single for Young, which would have given the Nationals a little rally in the 9th inning. But the Padres shut them down. 1-0 the final at Petco Park today. Welcome to the post-game coverage, as it were. Gwynn and Chris on 97.3 The Fan. 4:46 is the time. And we will be here for not just 1 hour, but 2+ hours. Bonus baseball here tonight on the Gwynn and Chris program. We'll be here till 7 o'clock. So sit back, relax, and we'll talk some Padres. We'll talk about everything else going on. Skraby and I were together in this very studio no more than a month or so ago, maybe a month and a half ago. We were joined that evening by Braden Surprenant and a bunch of food from Spiro's. And we had the NFL draft coverage. Do you remember that, Scrape?
I certainly do.
Well, who would you rather have than us tonight for the NBA draft coverage? Yeah, that's what I thought. Thank you.
They're trying so hard to make this
They're trying to make
deal.
it a big deal, and it's not to many of us, to most of us. And here's what. First of all, the Dallas Mavericks are on the clock, and in 15 minutes, they'll draft Cooper Flagg.
Exactly.
And then after that, I'm not kidding you, Scrabe. There really isn't a single player who will be drafted tonight after Cooper Flagg that any of us have ever heard of. We just haven't. And that is, I'm not going to go too deep into this because I want to definitely talk about the Padres and everything and their win today. But that is kind of the NBA's thing now, right? A lot of these guys that are in the league are European players. That's fine. It's good. It's great. The flavor is great for the league, but for the draft night, we just don't know who any of these people from overseas are. And then the other guys that are drafted are all coming off of 1 year in college. Freshmen, one and dones, as they call them. So we don't get to know any of them. The second pick is supposed to be Dylan Harper. Now, if anybody knows what team he played for last year, you're maybe the greatest college basketball fan I've ever seen. He played for Rutgers.
I was going to say Western, Northern,
right? Yeah,
Dakota State.
Well, Rutgers is just as out on a limb, right? In fact, believe it or not, 2 of the top 6 picks are projected to be one and done players who last year played at Rutgers. Rutgers.
Why did Rutgers not do anything?
That's what I was going to just say. They were 15-17 last year, and I don't think they appeared on television a single time outside of the Big Ten Conference Channel. Anyway, so yeah, the NBA has a bit of an identification problem when it comes to draft night. And so that's why nobody cares. But we'll give you a little, we'll follow along a little bit. And if anything interesting happens, we'll let you know. I know we have some Laker fans out there.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if the Lakers even pick in the first round. I'm scrolling down here.
No, I bet you they gave all their number one picks.
They probably gave it away somewhere. Yeah, they probably did. Yeah, I don't see the Lakers in the first round, so they will not be drafting anybody tonight unless there's another trade somewhere. All right, let's get to what happened today out at Petco Park. Nick Pivetta, let me tell you something. There are 7-inning shutouts where you strike out 3 or strike out 10 and allow 3 measly singles.
Mm-hmm.
There are performances like that. And then there is what he did today, which is exactly that statistically. But when you add in the fact that Morejon pitched last night, Estrada pitched lengthy last night, Jason Adam pitched lengthy last night.
They were forced into it.
And Robert Suarez was suspended for the game today.
Yep.
You absolutely had to have 7 shutties from Nick Pivetta today, and he gave it to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, impressive and big time. And the kind of thing that I believe ought to get Nick Pivetta on the All-Star team this year. I don't know if he'll get there. I think he has earned it. Was that his 8th win today? 8-2. He's been, well, let me just make sure before I. Yes, 8-2.
Okay.
8-2. Now the ERA is 3.36. Which
is still pretty good.
It's still pretty good. The reason it's higher than it was is because he had a couple of games there where he gave up 4 or 5 runs. But by and large, Nick Pivetta has been lights out all season. And for all of those people, and there was a long line of them who said, yeah, Nick Pivetta is the kind of guy that'll give you 4 or 5 good games, and then he'll give you 4 or 5 bad games, and you'll kind of wonder what's the matter. That hasn't happened.
There's been some.
It just hasn't.
But
okay,
it hasn't
right.
been overall that way.
He's made 15 starts, Skraby. He's had 3 games where he's given up over 3 runs. I'd say I'd take that. 13 out of 16. Would you take that?
Yeah.
He's given up 0 runs in a start 4 times this year in 16 start. Today was actually his 16th start. I said 15. So 16 starts. He's had 4 games where he's given up 0 runs. He's had 3 others where he's given up 1. And he's had 2 others where he's given up 2. You're going to win those games.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is what Pivetta's been. And I think he's been an all-star type performer this year.
And before I get any, because I've already... Pivetta faced a bad Nationals team. That was not what people were saying 2 days ago.
Yes, that's right.
That is not.
All right, look. Don't even give it. Don't even go there, please. Arizona 2 starts ago, are they bad? 7 innings, 2 hits against them. Yankees 5 innings, 2 runs. At Colorado, he gave up a couple. At Detroit, 7 innings, nothing. I think Detroit has the best record in baseball. So please don't try to even slip this in there that was a bad national team. And while we're at that, this is such low-hanging fruit that I didn't even want to mention it. But I can't help it because as I walk outside and I go into my backyard and I have those fruit trees, this fruit is hanging so low that it's hitting me in the shoulders. I have to grab at it.
What is it? What kind of fruit
C.J. Abrams and James Wood went 0 for 8 with 6 strikeouts today between them.
Yep.
So I know that on, what was it? Tuesday night? Monday night?
Monday night.
Right. Worst trade ever made. Should have never gotten rid of Abrams. Should have never got rid of Wood. How good would this team look with those 2 guys in the lineup? Well, that's about what they would look like. Once in a while, they give you good games. But most of the time, they don't. And that is exactly why the Nationals suck. Because guys like Abrams and Wood are not consistently good yet.
They cannot carry a team.
They may consistently be good one day. but the Padres needed something at the time in 2022 that helped them lead to the NL Championship Series and within 2 games of the World Series. The Nationals got some good young players, but that's what they are, and they're still finding their way. And as good as Abrams and Wood and Josh Bell, I'll even throw him in, as good as they were on Monday night, the last 2 games, that threesome, the former Padres, went 2 for 21 with 10 strikeouts. They did no damage of any kind.
No, they didn't. And so, I even did the math just on those 2 guys, which you already kind of stole my thunder, which is okay. 2 for 16, 2 walks, 2 RBIs, 9 Ks over the final 2 games.
Well, the 2 RBIs that James Wood got were last night. One was on a little dribbler in front of the plate, and the other was on a fielder's choice ground ball. He didn't even get a hit on either of those. So, look, I'm not trying to knock these 2 guys. I like them both.
They're probably going to be very good.
They are good. James Wood's already very good. C.J. Abrams is good, but it just underscores how absurd some of the Padre fans and, let's be honest, most baseball fans can be. There's one game where these 2 guys light it up and the Nationals win, and all of a sudden A.J. Preller and the Padres organization is the stupidest organization ever to exist.
And this is why people ask me, why don't you guys like to talk about that stuff? Because it's true. Well, this is what happens. Like, it was one game.
Here's the point. Here's your point. If you're one of those people who believe that Abrams and Wood was a complete disaster for us to trade, fine. But then on a day like today, you have to also admit that maybe we didn't lose too much. I mean, because if you're banking your opinion on a 1-game performance and saying it was a terrible trade, well, then today you have to bank it on a 1-game performance and say, well, we stole Juan Soto and we stole whatever we got after him, because all we gave away was 2 guys who struck out 7 times today.
And I got to say, too, that everybody was like, yeah, Robert Hassel was a part of that. Robert Hassel has not done one thing in the major leagues. He's been called up.
He came up for a couple of weeks, hit a home run, and he went back down. Gore pitched well today. Yeah. Good job by Gore, but not enough. Gore is 3-8. All I'm saying.
And this was a winnable game for them today.
All I'm saying is just listen to us when we tell you to relax and not rank a trade that happened 3 years ago based on 1 game.
Correct.
All right, we're underway. Gwynn and Chris, welcome to it. Couple hours to go. Relax. We'll keep you up to date with the NBA draft, too.
Hey, it's great.
Go.
All right, 502. Isn't that a robbery, I believe, in the police code? 502? 502 going on?
Oh, I don't
Somebody's
know.
out there who works in law enforcement could help us, but I seem to remember 502 is a robbery.
No, it's drunk driving.
Oh, it is? Okay. Well, I knew I recognized it. I don't know why I felt that was a robbery, but it is drunk driving. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'd heard it somewhere, and I thought I'd throw it in. Welcome back to the program. Good evening.
I was going to make a joke about you heard it from a police officer, but then now that we know it's drunk driving, you wouldn't be drunk driving. So
right. All right. So no 502s out there as you're driving home and listening to the show. We'll get home safely. Padres got out of this series safely. They beat the Nats 1-0 today. Luis Arraez, we've said it before, Skrabe. He's not as valuable as he needs to be when he's hitting 274. But as he starts to creep up towards 300 now, 288, getting a little closer, right? 12-game hit streak, 3 hits today. Start getting the importance of Luis Arraez. Drove in the game's only run. I thought Diaz had a really good game, as I said earlier. Couple of hits, almost had a third. Line drive was caught down there. Made a really great play to begin the 9th inning. Understand that the Nationals led off with Jacob Young, okay? Number 9 hitter. Here's what you need to know about Jacob Young. He's fast.
Very.
Like lightning. He's almost an automatic stolen base guy. So when he lays down a bunt to start the 9th inning, to me, and it's a 1-0 game. When he lays that bunt down, to me, like the game is almost at stake on that play. Because if you get him, you stop any momentum and rally they might have. But if you don't get him, then he's on. With that speed, he probably steals second. You got Abrams, Wood, Garcia all have a chance to tie the game or more. And understand that Young laid a bunt down, I think, for two reasons on that play. One, because it was a pretty good play. He laid down a bunt, and I like the play. I like it. He's fast. He lays out a bunt. But the other reason that he laid down a bunt there, if you ask me, because he and the Nationals know that Adrian Morejon does not field his position very well. The only thing that Young did not do was bunt the ball far enough away from Elias Diaz, who made a really supreme play. He had to race out there with the ball rolling away from him, shed his mask, pick up the ball, throw while not stumbling and falling over his catcher's equipment, and make an accurate throw while falling down to get that play. I just I don't know that people appreciated it enough. And and after that, then Morejon's on a roll, and he gets Abrams a strikeout again, and Wood flies out. Game over. Padres win it. So really well done by Diaz back there today. I thought Tyler Wade, another guy, made a couple of really good defensive plays today on hard ground balls in the hole, going over there, knocking him down, and getting the out. Bryce Johnson goes back to the left field wall early in the game. I don't know if he stole a home run, but it was close.
He was pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, these are the things the Padres do that we don't talk often enough about. We talk plenty about the fact that they don't hit. Sometimes they don't have power. They don't hit with runners in scoring position. We talk often about the injuries. We talk often about, the hole in left field, the automatic outs behind the plate. We talk about all this stuff often. Maybe we focus on all of it too much. The one thing I think the Padres are as good as anybody at, and I would put them with ahead of the Dodgers, honestly, in this category, and it's maybe the only category I'd put them ahead of the Dodgers, is just baseball. Running the bases, executing, getting, scoring runs, creating runs, and then preventing runs, hitting cutoffs. How about the game the other night? Jackson Merrill,
yep,
right center, gets the ball.
What was it, Sunday?
Iglesias, relay, save the game.
Yeah.
That wins the game. Today's play by Diaz, I say, didn't win the game, but it was a big deal. These are the things the Padres do well and have, for the most part, done well all year. I think it's the reason why they're 8 games over 500 in a season where they're at the bottom of the ranks offensively. They're at the bottom of the ranks in power. Sure, their pitching is good, let's be honest, but it hasn't been lights out for a long time.
No.
The pitching just has not. The bullpen's ERA over the last 60 games is 3.80. Now, that's good. It's not lights out. But they keep finding ways. Today was the 13th one-run game this month. It's only June 25th. They played 13 one-run games this month, and they're only 6-7.
I want to talk about
those
that
games
for a second, because I get people like to ask me questions to ask you guys.
Okay.
And so the question was, if the Nationals are so bad as you guys are saying, why didn't the Padres win by like 4 or 5 runs? I'm like, sometimes wins come 1-0 over a team like the Nationals. It's okay. The only thing that matters at the end of the day is the W column.
Well,
that's the only thing.
Yeah, and let me try to answer that question in a different way, because people do. They say, okay, you're playing the Nationals.
Oh, so that should be easy. 3 games, they should win 7-0 every game.
Except for the fact that earlier this season in April, the Dodgers went there and the Nationals won 2 out of 3.
Mm-hmm.
It happens. Baseball is just that way.
But that's why it's 162 games, because the better teams go to the top.
The cream rises. Yes. Good call. The Nationals split 4 with the Mets earlier this year. The Nationals, swept Baltimore. The Baltimore's having a tough year. But you get my point. The Nationals are going to win their share of games. The key to me is, in the long run, to have a good record against teams you should beat. And let me point out a little bit.
You had this for us yesterday, I believe.
But I have it even more so now. okay, because I worked on this, and it's funny that you brought it up. I was looking at the Tigers. They have the best record in the league, in all of baseball.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Okay, their record is 50-30. They played 80 games. They have played 40 games against winning teams, and they have played 40 games against losing teams.
All right.
Against the winning teams, the Tigers are downright mediocre, 20-20. But against bad teams, they're 30-10.
That's where you stack your wins.
That's why the Tigers have the best record. But also understand, they're 30-10. That means they've lost 10.
Yes.
You don't go 40-0. Baseball's just not that way.
Yeah.
So when people say, well, how do you lose any to the Nationals? That's how it works. The Padres, by and large, have been great against losing teams. And here's the stats that support it. 34 games against losing teams so far. They're 26-8. That will get it done.
It will.
It would be nice to be 34-0. I understand that. But 26-8 is winning. And it also allows the Padres to have a downright lousy record against good teams. The Padres are 18-28 against teams with winning record. And that's not good at all.
And in the regular season, that's not saying that they're not a good team, because in the playoffs, anything can happen. And the Padres have a good enough team.
We know the Padres
to win in the playoffs.
We know the Padres can beat any of these teams, right? They beat the Giants 2-0 this year. They beat the Cubs 2-1 this year. They've beat Milwaukee 2-1 this year. Okay, they can beat all these teams. But in the long run, got a losing record against winning teams. But you make it a moot point by going 26-8 and cleaning up on all these other clubs. Now, that said, let's be fair. Pretty much got nothing but winning teams coming up here for a while.
I mean, it was winning teams the past 26 games for the most part.
For the most part, you're right. But
and you know what they did over that last 26 games, Chris? 500.
Enlighten me. 13
500. That's what we said on the roundtable. If we get through this 26-game stretch in 27 days, and they come out 500, that's a win.
You want to survive it. You
exactly.
just want to survive
it. You got to stay afloat, and they did.
The Padres survived it with the injuries, with some guys not hitting and swinging it well. They survived it. They have 5 series left before the All-Star break, Padres. First two will be on the road, Cincinnati and Philadelphia, both winning teams.
Hey, Cincinnati is not a team that we can look past.
Why would you? Are the Padres good enough to look past anybody?
No, but people will look past Cincinnati because of the name Cincinnati.
Well, okay. Well, how about you look at the record? They're 42-38 right now, and they just took 2 from the Yankees. The Reds are playing fine. They have one of the best managers going, and our guy Terry Francona.
Tito.
Phillies are next. We know how good they are. Then you come home and you finish the first half with 10 games at home. Texas, Arizona for 4, and Philadelphia. Just as tough a stretch as what you just finished, right? So got to get after it. But, an important win today. And the other thing I've been talking about, Tony's poo-pooed this.
Poo-poo.
You know what I mean? You know what poo-poo means?
Oh, yeah, of course. He went,
he was like,
That's what he did.
Well, he didn't. I don't think he.
Anytime Tony poo-poos now, it's.
I don't think he flatulated on this.
He would like to. I
was trying to find the word there. But the Padres seem to win the last game of every series they play. I don't know why that is, but they just do. They finished in Arizona with a win after losing 2. They finished in the Dodgers with a win after losing 3. And they won the last 2 Kansas City, the last 2 Washington. Does it mean a lot? It kind of does to me, because it leaves them with a good feeling after every series, it seems like. I kind of like winning the last game of every series.
And even though Tony
he thought it didn't mean anything.
And you know what? He might be right, but to me, if we have great shows, Chris, throughout the week, and then we have a bad show on Friday,
leaves the bad taste.
It leaves
all
a bad
weekend.
like I can't wait to get back on Monday. If we have great show, or we have bad shows all week, but we have 2 great shows at the end of the week, I feel good about the weekend.
What I would like to know is, when have we ever had a bad show on a Friday? I mean, honestly, has that ever really happened?
I would have to think
Yeah,
back,
don't
but I'm
answer-
sure there
don't
is.
Don't answer that. Cooper Flagg is officially a Dallas Maverick. The NBA draft just getting underway with the first pick. More Gwynn and Chris ahead.
From the 8-5.
has made it 3-3.
Good call, as always, by our friend Jesse Agler. Last night's ball game, Padres won that one 4-3. They won today 1-0. By the way, did we mention, Scrape? 13th shutout already this season for the Padres. 13!
Is that good?
I think so.
I think so, too.
They've only won 44 games.
And 13
of them, they haven't given up any runs. To put it in a little perspective, though, how has the game of baseball changed? Back in the historic...
30% of their games have been shut out, or 30% of their wins have been shut out.
Right. Very good. 13 shutouts for the Padres so far. In the historic pitching season of 1968, Bob Gibson alone for the St. Louis Cardinals had 13 shutouts himself. Can you imagine?
They also threw like 300 pitches in a game back then. So
Bob Gibson had a pretty good year. There's so many ways to distinguish that incredible 1968 season, but he finished with a 1.12 ERA. I think that probably says the most. 13 shutouts for the Padres, which puts them on pace, for 26, right?
Yeah.
We're almost halfway through the season. I don't know what the all-time record is by a team, but I'm looking it up as we speak. See, wow.
Uh-oh. It's got to be like a Yankees team or something.
No, it's not. 32 is the most team shutout. I want to see when it was.
1893?
1909 and 1906 and 1907. Since 1910, okay?
Okay.
The most shutouts by a team in one season is 26 by the Cardinals, and that was in 1944. So the Padres are on pace as a staff to do something that has not been done in 81 years. I don't think that's correct mathematically. I think so.
Which is so strange because
1944 was the last time somebody had 26 shutouts as a team. Padres have 13. That's pretty good. So it's really good. Even better than I kind of thought, Scrape. You know what I mean?
I know.
I didn't realize they were like on pace for what would, have to be almost considered a record, since the only other teams with more than 26 all happened in 1910.
All right. So since 1961,
Mm-hmm.
did you just talk about the 1968 Cardinals?
No, the 68 Cardinals was the one that Bob Gibson was on.
Okay.
Yes.
So 27 shutouts that year. Then 20. The Padres at 13 are already ranked tied for like 20th in the history with 13 shutouts.
Yeah, there you go. Cardinals 1968 had 27. Gibson had 13 of them.
The Dodgers had 20. The Orioles in 1963 for the Dodgers. 1969, the Orioles had 19. So the Padres could put themselves in the top 10.
In elite company,
like
in terms of shutouts.
That just don't happen.
No, 13 shutouts already. They're on pace for 26. Probably won't keep that up, but if they do, good. By the way, 4 of those games this year have been 1-0.
I kind of like it.
You do?
Yeah, I kind of like the stress.
Speaking of soccer, tonight the SDFC takes on Vancouver in a big one up there in Vancouver. Winner goes into first place in the MLS.
I mean, that's
Western Conference.
That's pretty good. We did not expect first place.
No,
I think halfway through there. I have no idea.
They're a little beyond halfway now. Yeah, no, that would be huge. If the SDFC can win tonight, I would love to watch the game, and this is not a knock on any soccer fan. This is a knock on the MLS needs to figure it out.
They
can't put this game on Apple TV plus, where I have to pay beyond my Apple subscription to watch it. I would really like to see it. I'd be honest, intrigues me, right? This is a big match. But I'm not going to work that hard for it. And I'm not going to pay that much extra for it. And I think I'm in the majority. I know you soccer crazy people are going to find a sports bar somewhere, and that's good. But what the MLS needs, correct me if I'm wrong, Scrape.
What?
The MLS needs to attract new fans.
Yes, they do.
And the way to get new fans is to make a game of this importance available to us.
I will tell you why it's not going to happen, where they're going to switch it up unless they can get out of their contract. Apple's paying MLS $250 million a year for the next 10 years, and that started in 2023, I believe.
They got the money, but they're not going to get a lot of new fans if they can't make their games more
I also
accessible.
think possibly MLS is ahead of its time.
Why
By no reason other than the fact that
because
Apple
you think all the other
yes.
teams, the other leagues are going to have to do this?
For no other reason than that they needed money and Apple was willing to pay them money. It's not because they were forward thinkers. I don't think.
They took the cash.
Yeah, they took the cash. They did. And it's smart, but I think in 10 years we're probably paying to watch our teams.
Yeah, but I think the rest of us, we may work harder and pay harder to watch baseball. I know we'll work harder and pay more to watch football. I don't know that we will for soccer. And this is why soccer, I think, needs to think a little differently. Because, again, I'm not speaking for you hardcore soccer fans. I know you're out there. I know you love your team. I know you support it. I know all your kids play it. I get it.
You're ready for the game tonight.
Right. You can't wait. You've got people coming over or you're all meeting at the sport. I get it.
It's the people like me that are sports people but aren't really, totally soccer people yet. I would love to DVR this game and watch it tonight. I just would, but I can't. It's not there. I guess you're going to have to watch it live.
I'm not going to. Well, here's why. Because to watch it live, I have to first have Apple TV. I secondly have to then pay a fee beyond that to watch it. That's just no way.
Should I tell you that the station can help you with that?
I understand. I get all that. I'm speaking for the people out there that aren't in the media and don't have a little, backdoor way in.
I'm in the media and I don't really.
But you know what I'm saying, Skraby?
I do. I would not be able to afford MLS every single month.
There's probably people driving home right now. They're like, wow, our soccer team, I knew we had one, and we're really in a matchup for first place tonight. Like the whole best two teams in the whole league practically are playing, and we're one of them. How do I watch it? Where is it? Well, you don't watch it because it's nowhere.
It is somewhere.
So, you know what I mean?
You just got to go find it.
All right. That's all I'm saying. Good luck, though, to the SDFCers tonight.
Ooh, we got a no-hitter going right now.
Who's got it?
Jacob DeGrom.
Oh, he
has no-hit the Orioles through 7 innings.
7 innings for DeGrom.
I got to put this on TV.
Put it on TV. We'll keep an eye on that. The NBA draft continues. I believe the second pick was who we expected, Dylan Harper from Rutgers. He went to the Spurs.
Is that Ron Harper's son?
I don't know. It could be. Very good possibility. The third pick, as expected also, Philadelphia 76ers got guard VJ Edgecombe from Baylor. Again, not guys that are household names, but that's the first 3 picks of the NBA draft.
All right, do not Google
Dylan Harper. Why? Something
comes up with a woman who is.
I see. He shares a name with an adult actress.
Yes, I spelled the first name wrong. His name is actually like the traditional spelling of Dylan.
That's unbelievable.
But I spelled it Dillon.
Okay, well, you shan't do that. So evidently Dylan
so when
Harper,
the bosses see what I just looked up, it was because I typed in the wrong name.
Skraby's doing the things he shouldn't be doing over there.
Now everybody's going to Google
right. Everybody's going to look him up. Okay. Well, when you look up Dylan Harper, you might want to make sure.
All I want to know is if he's Ron Harper's son. I didn't want to go into any of that.
All right, let's take a break while you look up the real Dylan Harper, hopefully, or the other Dylan Harper, as it were. And Gwynn and Chris continues until 7 tonight. Stick around.
Ben and Wood.
Meanwhile, Gwynn and Chris part keeps going till 6. Final score, Padres 1 and the Nationals nothing. The reason I'm pausing is because we're watching this no-hit bid by Jacob deGrom, which just ended.
Yeah, it was us, Chris.
Yeah, we killed it. Leadoff single in the bottom of the 8th by the Orioles.
I think it was first pitch, too.
Yeah, didn't take long. So deGrom goes 7. No. And now no for Jacob. The Rangers are still winning the game. What was the score there? Was it 3-0?
It was 7-0.
Oh, wow. Okay, 7-0. Also, Bruce Bochy quickly out to the mound. That's it. The night is over for deGrom. Like, he was only pitching into the 8th inning because he had a no-hitter. Otherwise, Bochy they're not going to take any chances with the often injured Jacob deGrom.
No, they don't want anything happening to that elbow.
So he goes 7. No. Yankees lead the Reds 4-1. Here's why. And I'm going to just get on my soapbox here. So please join me if you're old enough.
I'm going to stay quiet because this, Chris was very upset about this in the break.
I'm going to get on my soapbox. Like I said, if you're old enough, come join me. Reds and Yankees, bases loaded for the Yankees. Top of the 5th inning, 1 out. Now, the fly ball is hit to center field. Deep center field. Pretty deep, right? No question that this is a sacrifice fly. The guy's going to trot in from third base. But the runner at third base is the young guy, Bird, for the Yankees.
Mm-hmm.
Or no, not Bird, Rice. Ben Rice. Take it back.
I say, and
I know, but it's not. It's Ben Rice. All right, he's the young guy, rookie player. Really talented player.
Yeah, he's talented.
But he tags up, and what does he do? He leaves too early.
Mm-hmm.
He starts running home before the ball is caught. First of all, I don't get that. Like, why? You're watching it. The ball's out there. You don't need to even get a quick start because it's so deep. Skraby and I could crawl home. So you're a major leaguer. You can easily score. You don't need to time it. Just wait till he catches the ball and run home.
It was center near the fence.
Right. But he doesn't do that. He takes 3 steps and then realizes, oops, I'm an idiot. I left before the ball was caught. So he goes back to third, and then he compounds his mistake by then trying to score.
Yeah, he went for it.
Well, now that he's done all that, he's going to be out by a mile, except for the fact that the Reds have a young, not very aware shortstop of their own named Elly De La Cruz. Now, we all know that Elly De La Cruz has more talent in his little pinky than any of us do.
Yeah.
But he catches the relay throw, and he's just not aware.
Just holding it.
He holds the ball.
He's looking at the second baseman.
He's looking at it like he's going to take a bite out of it. And while he's looking at the ball, the guy who should now be out by a mile walks in and scores.
Yep.
These things are happening all the time with young players who don't pay attention, and I'm a little tired of it because we sit there and talk endlessly how great all these young players are, but we don't look at the entire package. Last night, another De La Cruz, the Pittsburgh guy.
Oh, O'Neal Cruz.
I'm sorry, O'Neal Cruz,
yes.
Another Cruz.
There was a Brian De La Cruz.
Yes, there was. No, we're talking about O'Neal Cruz.
Yes. 6'7", can hit the ball harder than anyone in baseball. And that's not a joke.
He's incredible. Again, as talented as any player you've ever seen. O'Neal Cruz. But you know what? Last night, Cruz was a perfect description for what kind of ball player he was. He comes up. He hits a ground ball to the shortstop. I actually think the third baseman fielded it because they were in a bit of a shift. But it's a ground ball to short with a man on first. Cruz runs out of the box, sees the third baseman grab the ball, and starts jogging.
Mm-hmm.
They throw to second for 1, back to first, inning ending, double play. while Cruz has this dumbfounded look on his face like, what happened?
Yeah.
Well, turns out he thought there was already 2 outs, thought there was no reason to run because they were getting the force at second. I understand mistakes happen.
Yes, they do.
I know Tony would stick up for this guy 1,000 times.
This isn't the first time he's done something.
But this is not the first time. How about the play a couple of weeks ago
in the outfield?
In the outfield where they had a line drive to him and he comes in and it goes under his glove.
And he just kind of
stands there and turns around and watches the ball roll to the fence and doesn't move.
Yeah, he just looked at it.
What am I missing here? I know he's so talented. He can do whatever he wants. He's going to make billions of dollars. But I can't stand watching the game be played this way. This is what I don't like, Skraby. I don't like players who are not paying attention. I want the game played at a higher level. I appreciate the talent, but I don't like to see stuff like this. And then 2 nights ago, the best young player of them all, Pete Crow Armstrong.
Oh, PCA.
Gonna go. In fact, I think at the end of the season, they're going to change the rule and just let him be enshrined into the Hall of Fame. He's so good.
People are very,
right? They love this guy.
Yes.
And, look, what's not to love? 20-something home runs, stolen bases, the whole thing. Pete Crow Armstrong playing center field against the Cardinals. Fly ball, deep center field. I think it was last night or the night before. Either one.
I'm watching it right now. It was 1 day ago.
Burleson hit the ball. Crow Armstrong back on the warning track, makes the catch, and just casually makes the catch.
He makes the catch. He bounces off the wall.
He kind of walks
and he goes,
around
"Oh no!"
slowly, and then he looks up and goes, "Wait a minute!" Yes, the runner at second base was Mason Gwynn, who took advantage of Pete Crow Armstrong's laziness and scored from second base, tagging up on a fly ball.
That should never happen.
Now, you want to call it a good play by Mason Gwynn? I do too. He took advantage of it. Great play by him.
He was ready.
But you're right. That just shouldn't happen. And and after the game, Pete Crow Armstrong was talked, and I'll give him credit for at least standing and facing the music, but it's the old thing. Oh, yeah, I thought there was 1 out. I thought there were 2. I wasn't paying attention. It'll never happen again. Why does it even happen once? I don't get it. I'll tell you why it happens. In my standing on a soapbox old man mind. Because these kids, unlike
here we go.
the kids in my day and age.
Oh, no.
I told you I'm on my old man soapbox here. These kids, unlike me, who had to walk uphill in the snow barefoot to work every day, both ways, right? These kids are coddled too much.
Oh, I don't know that.
You're not going to go for it. But Pete Crow Armstrong, O'Neill Cruz, Ellie De La Cruz, Ben Rice, every single one of them have just been given a free ride the whole way. I guarantee you not one coach anywhere ever sat down with these guys and said, hey, you got talent to burn, but how about playing the game right?
But what if in that scenario, that's on coaching throughout their entire career for not actually talking to them.
But you're not allowed to talk to them anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Oh, I don't think that's true.
Okay.
If you don't want the manager to be like, hey, PCA, or what is it, Craig Counsell? You know what, PCA, you want to stay on this team, you're going to have to do stuff better. You're going to have to make sure you're ready.
Why don't you look up the box score from the Cub-Cardinal game last night, and you tell me, did Craig Counsell take him out of the game after that?
Probably
you tell
not.
me. Go look it
good.
up.
He's too good. I'm looking it up. Was that yesterday? 6:24.
Did he come out of the game at any time?
I'm looking.
All right, look it up. I'm going to let you
He did
look
not.
it up. He did not.
O'Neill Cruz did.
O'Neill Cruz did. I'll give the Pirate guy.
And that is a interim manager.
Thank you. Pirate manager. Making him accountable. Know how many outs there are. Run. Play hard. Pete Crow Armstrong stays in the game. Fine. Craig Counsell is a multi-gazillion-dollar manager. But I'm going to tell you something, again, on the soapbox. If this happened in 1978, Billy Martin would have run out to center field and pulled Pete Crow Armstrong out of the game himself.
See that?
And Earl Weaver would have done it too, and Sparky Anderson, and moving forward, Bobby Cox and Tom Kelly and Tony La Russa, and just about anybody you could name would not stand for a star player like that to make a mistake.
Let me tell you about why that doesn't work today.
All right, you tell me.
Because now you're all over social media getting a talking to in the dugout, and everybody's gonna put up their videos making fun of you. You know what should happen?
What
is that person? PCA should come back to the dugout. They sit him down, they talk to him, and they make sure that he understands the situation. And then if that happens again, then we're going to take action.
All right, so you're telling me that you disagree then with what the Pirate manager did by taking O'Neill Cruz out right away.
No, because this is O'Neill Cruz's
19th time.
Yeah. PCA hasn't really done this so far that I know.
Right. PCA has been pretty on his P's and Q's.
But when O'Neill Cruz is missing easy pop flies in the outfield,
and then not running after the ball,
watching Brian Reynolds go get it.
He did. It was laughable. It was absolutely laughable. He turned around and watched Brian Reynolds chase the ball behind him.
And I think more of it in his head is
goodness.
I think more of it in his head is, oh my, I can't believe I just did that.
Well, of course,
but run after the ball.
Run after the ball. You've been doing that, I hope, since Little League.
Can we bring this back to the Padres though? Because Padres are a well-coached team. I don't see the Padres having anyone score on a sac fly from second base. And if it does happen, Mike Schilt will tell that player what they did wrong.
Let me ask you this, and I'm going to hit closer to home now.
Okay.
Because you just said it, and I've been saying it.
Okay.
The Padres take care. They're buttoned down. They don't make these kinds of errors.
They're a heady
team. Except for the fact that the other day, your guy and my guy and everyone else's guy, Fernando Tatis Jr., was running from first to second. He was easily thrown out on a force play. Not even close, except for the fact that the second baseman dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Fernando didn't see the... I'm not... he didn't see him drop the ball. If he's seen it, if he saw it, then he's really not very smart.
That is true.
So I'm assuming he did not see the second
base.
He
was out.
Thought he was out. Didn't see it. The umpire said safe. Fernando didn't see that either. So he got up and started running off the field and then was tagged out. And then the umpire said, "You're out." And then Fernando had his tail between his legs because he knew he blew it. And he was saved by the home plate umpire who came walking out and said, "Oh, no, I called time way over here. He's okay."
Isn't there like a time limit?
To me, that's a brain cramp, though, that really I'm going to get on Fernando for. He got away with it this time, but only because something happened way over there that he wasn't aware of. I don't like that stuff. And I'm going to have to pick on Fernando the same way I pick on PCA in this particular situation.
I'm fine with that because you know what? That was a huge part of the game. And if Fernando was out, it would have really messed up everything.
I think they ended up losing that game anyway, but they were trying to come back. I think it was the game Monday night. I can't remember for sure, but they were trying to come back and get a rally going, and that could have killed the whole rally. So, look, this happens throughout baseball.
Can you think about anything else this year from Fernando? I can't.
Well, other than the fact that both he and Manny jogged to first base on high pop-ups, I don't like that.
Oh, I don't care about that.
I know you don't, but
because you know what? If it's a high pop out in the outfield or whatever, then if they drop it, you're still going to get to first. And I'd rather Manny not tear something sprinting down the line when he has a can of corn.
Yeah,
pop fly out there.
Yeah, well, tell that to every other ball player who played before Manny and Fernando, who did run out those fly balls and didn't tear their hamstrings doing it.
Andros has an interesting thing that we can't really prove about the Fernando thing.
Okay, what's he got?
I think the dude on second lied to him and told him he was out or something.
Well, okay.
That could happen.
It could, but that's still Fernando's fault.
Yeah, you shouldn't believe what someone tells you.
The last I checked, the second baseman is not wearing an umpire's uniform. It's up to the umpire to tell you whether you're safe or out.
On this case,
and I hate to tell you, I learned that when I was 9 years old.
In this case, Chris, in the sports court, I side with you.
Okay. All right.
It wasn't a great look. Just forgot about it because he got away with it.
Yeah, he got away with it. So, look. All right, young players, you've been put on notice by the old fart here, Chris Ello. I'm sorry, but I have to do it. So I have to do it. I know that I look. Skraby, give me a little credit. I've come to accept the iPhone. I've come to accept, that everyone wants to get a tattoo and a nose ring. And I'm past all of it. I can't quite get past lazy baseball. I'm not a fan of that. And I don't think I ever will be.
I don't think that you are. I don't think it's wrong for you to feel that way at all, because these guys are playing at the highest level.
They're getting paid a
lot of money to be aware of the situation on the field. And if you're not aware of the situation on the field, then you're not doing your job.
Isn't a little part of it the attitude, which is, I'm going to do the cool thing. I got to look good playing the game.
I can't sure say that.
I can't either, but that kind of was what went through my mind when I watched PCA on that.
He did have this,
he went back.
That was a good catch.
Yeah.
And then he did a little twirl.
I made a hell of a nice catch there. Did everybody see it? I want to make sure you saw it because it was a nice play by me. Oops.
Jan says, I agree with Chris.
I'm sure a lot of people do. And I'm sure a lot of people don't. And that's fine. That's fine.
We got to do traffic real quick.
Let's do that.
From the 855 Get Ross Traffic Center, protecting San Diego after accidents or injury, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Oil Change, your 15-minute drive-through oil change. Well, collision has cleared on westbound 8 near the 125. We're getting reports of another crash, though, West 8 near Grossmont Boulevard. Not showing if that one is being confused with the other one, but you might see a little slowing approaching that West 8 at Grossmont. Elsewhere around the county, things are clearing up nicely. Crash is finally cleared on northbound 5, just past the 805 merge. San Diego summers mean beach days, road trips, ball games. Make sure your ride's ready with Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Drive in, stay in your car, and be done in about 15 minutes. No appointment needed. For coupons, visit SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Gwynn and Chris, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Maybe I only have one thing to say to wrap up this segment.
Get off your lawn?
Yeah, get off my lawn. Kids these days.
Once you go to the kids thing, I'm like, oh.
I know.
Here he goes.
Hey, I know where I'm going. I get it. I'm just...
You're not the only one out there. I can promise you that.
Cooper Flagg, first pick tonight. Dylan Harper, Rutgers, second. VJ Edgecombe, third to Philly. Con Kneppel, Duke, fourth to Charlotte. Ace Bailey, another Rutgers kid, fifth to the Jazz.
Man, this Rutgers coach really dropped the ball on this team.
He had two of the best 5 players in the nation. Didn't even finish 500. Trey Johnson, sixth guard from Texas, goes to the Wizards. Skraby kind of takes over next.
Hello and welcome into the Skraby Show. I'm Matt Skraby. It's actually the Skrello Show. Chris left the studio. I'm not sure why, but he left the studio. He'll be back in just a second. We have one more hour to go, and Chris and I are just getting ripped to shreds on the internet right now. Just ripped to absolute shreds, or at least I'm getting ripped, because Chris and I and Tony have talked about this many times, and I am convinced now
What happened?
that people hear what they want to hear.
Oh,
They
I
don't actually listen. Chris gets a text in the break saying Scrabble's embarrassing for defending Tatis.
That's right.
I never defended him. I ended up going with Chris saying it's unacceptable. I was just presenting things that could have happened as to why he did that.
You were looking for excuses for him, Skraby.
That's fine. I look for excuses for everybody.
You're very nice to do that. Welcome back. I'm going to turn it over officially to Mr. Scrabble, as this text called you, in just a minute.
Can you find out who that was?
I don't know. If you sent this to me, I'm sorry I don't have your phone number added to your
Saved.
name. Yeah. So I recognize, I'll be honest, I recognize the number. Sorry that I'm not attaching it to the name. Anyway, couple of other things. Padres did win 1-0. So that's the most important thing. Fernando, nor anybody else for that matter, did anything lazy today. Played well defensively. Got the key hit from good old Arise early in the ball game.
Oh, yeah. What about DFA?
And we haven't. Oh, that's right. Arise did not get the hit today because we got rid of him a long time ago.
Yes, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's also got a 12-game hit streak right now.
No, he doesn't. We let him go when he was down. His average down went to 270. Don't you remember we let him go?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Nick Pivetta pitched great. 7 innings, 3 hits, 10 Ks. Strada and Morejon finished up. Morejon got the save as he had to because Suarez was serving the first of his 2-game suspension. Padres go to Cincinnati next. Reds are losing to the Yankees 6-1 right now. There. One other thing I wanted to mention. For those of you who go, hey, what's your wife like, Chris? We hear you talk about her all the time, the lovely Lori. Well, all you have to do is go back to the bottom of the 2nd inning at Petco Park today.
Yeah.
Up on the big board. For some reason, Lori appeared on the big board, and I missed it. I was walking downstairs, but Tony saw it.
He did. He texted us.
And he texted us and said, hey, I just saw Lori on the big scoreboard. So,
and I asked if Lori was, if she was shotgunning a beer.
she should have been shotgunning a beer.
That's the only way you should be on the big screen.
Sure. If you're on the big screen,
if
you
you're
got
an
to do
adult.
something with it.
If you're an adult.
Right. And so I told her that you said that, and those around her are friends. She was there with a bunch of friends, and they all said, it's an opportunity missed.
But Tony saw it, so.
Tony saw her on the board. So congrats to Lori there. She got on the big board today out at Petco Park. All right, Padres at Reds. Tomorrow's a day off for the Padres, not for us. We'll have the round table at 10 a.m. and then the regular Gwynn and Chris show from 2 to 6 tomorrow afternoon. And so that's all tomorrow. Padres finishing up today, right, Scrape? 26 games in 27 days.
Correct.
And they finished at 13-13.
Correct.
They went 7-6 on the first part. They went 6-7 on the second part. And sure, I would have loved to go 16-10, but we did say at the very beginning of it that, with a few injuries and guys not swinging the bat well, and the opponents, they're good opponents, good teams. You just want to, stay afloat during the stretch. They did that. They're 5 games back of the Dodgers. They're, right there for the wild card. And so they did themselves, maybe they didn't do themselves any major favors during this 26 games, but they certainly didn't do themselves any major harm either. So season now continues with 5 series left before we get to the All-Star break. One last thing, Friday's game in Cincinnati will mean the arrival of the halfway point of the season. 81st game will be played Friday night.
So now I can be ultra.
Then you can start really being
I can-
concerned.
yes.
Yes. After that, you can be concerned, and Tony won't be able to
I'm going to
complain about
nitpick.
it.
I'm going to be like, Tony, you be quiet.
That's right.
Game 82.
We're now in the second part of the season.
You're
It
not
all
allowed to
matters.
say anything.
Everything matters now, Tony.
Everything matters now, Tony. Here's someone from the chat, Eric Coriel, talking about Manny. I'm definitely with Chris on most, but I do not need Manny sprinting to first on a pop-up. He's a big guy. Rather see him conserve that energy for the double in the gap the next inning. I appreciate that.
You got it. But all I'm saying is this, and I don't, who was this?
Eric Coriel.
Eric Coriel. I'm going to say this,
Mr. Air.
Right. When we get to game 5 of the wild card playoff in LA.
Oh, he better be sprinting that
in the
out.
top of the 8th inning.
And he will be sprinting that
when
out.
he flies a lazy fly ball to center field and Andy Pajes Cadillacs it and drops the ball. If Manny's not standing on second base, you, Mr. Air, are going to scream and go, "What are you doing?"
I think playoffs are a totally different thing.
Okay. All right.
Because you're right. In the playoffs, you do not have you run out everything. You make every effort.
Let's see.
Unless it's like no, I'm just kidding. I wasn't gonna do that.
You're gonna give him an excuse?
No, because I've already been accused of making excuses for players today once. So.
Anyway, look, I've come to accept the fact that a guy like Manny, who's had the hamstring issues, doesn't want to push it in certain cases. I'm honestly okay with it.
Yeah.
But if I had my druthers, every guy would run out of the box like Pete Rose when they hit a fly ball. I just wish that was the way it is. I know it's not.
Pete had other motivations, though.
He was trying to win that bet, man. He had to get out there. I'll tell you another guy who did that here in San Diego one night. I really liked it. I think it was Nico Horner, the Cubs. And I was like, man, I like to see that. But anyway.
Wait, say that one more time?
Nico Horner hit a lazy fly ball to center field, and by the time it was caught, he was standing on second base. I mean, he just raced out there, and I said, I like that.
Okay. Well, he's got his cardio in for his fly out.
By the way, one last thing. Sorry, I keep saying one last thing. We have an extended happy hour tonight with Skraby and I taking it up till 7:00. But just so you know, I can't find the read. It's not on my sheet. You may have to read it.
Yes,
because I want to read it right. They are
the happy hour
sponsors of the happy hour.
Is very good to us. GL Pools Happy Hour is brought to you by
Yes.
GL Pools, the swimming pool experts trusted by thousands of San Diegans since 2006. Baseball season is in full swing, and so is swim season. Call GL Pools and mention radio for a free month of pool service. That is radio for a free month of pool service. All right.
Now, have you ever heard of Jeremiah Fears or Igor Demon?
The only reason I've heard of Jeremiah
You have
Fears
heard of
is
him, huh?
because I saw it on TV earlier.
Yeah, he went to the Pelicans with the 7th pick. Demon out of BYU went to Brooklyn at 8. You're up to date on the draft. Now, the Skraby Chronicles portion of the day.
Yes.
What do you have, sir?
I would
Anything
like to,
on your mind?
Yes.
Okay,
I have a couple things. Somewhere in the Kevin Acey newsletter this morning, there was a little note. Now, this is not him saying it's going to happen or saying that it's in the works of happening, but there was a little note floated about Matt Waldron possibly starting at some point next week for the Padres with Ryan Berger, because we didn't talk about that.
Yes, he's on the injured list. He got plunked on the line drive last night.
Yes, and so they recalled Sean Reynolds for a bullpen arm, but Ryan Berger went on the 15-day IL. And then
so they will need another starter.
They will, and that's where
It could be Waldron.
In the newsletter, Matt Waldron had a very good start last year in Philly.
Last week or last year?
Last year in Philly.
Oh, so he's starting again in Philly potentially.
Potentially, but this is not something that was being announced as like it's happening. It's just something to think about.
How about you, Darvish?
He's still throwing simulated games.
I mean, I'm only laughing because it hurts. Every time there's a note about you, Darvish, in the paper, which is often, it says something to this effect. You, Darvish, had a really good bullpen session the other day, threw blah, 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 blah pitches, and he came out of it feeling fine. The next step is a simulated game.
Yes.
Well, okay, except this is the 15th time I've seen that. So how many bullpen sessions and how many simulated games before you, Darvish, finally can pitch for the Padres?
Well, he was up at Lake Elsinore today, and the Storm baseball account on Twitter did tweet this out. Yu Darvish threw in a simulated game against Lake Elsinore Storm hitters as he rehabs from injury.
Thank goodness.
So at least we know that.
Yu Darvish has spent so much time in Lake Elsinore this year, he's going to be taxed by the mayor and the city for his, the money he's earned up there this year. Come on, you.
Yeah,
we need you, man.
I
really
it.
do.
I get it. And you know what?
I wouldn't be this adamant, but we really could use this guy. What is happening on that?
Every time Mike Schilt talks about it, it's very, 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 very clear to me that they're not going to do anything until Yu Darvish gives the okay.
Oh, there's no question.
Yeah,
that's a given.
Because they like Ryan Berger. Maybe they would probably be like, "Hey, we need you."
Right. No, Yu Darvish is making the call.
He's the guy who's going to make the decision.
And people say, "How can that happen?" Well, understand that it's been happening in sports for a million years. When Michael Jordan got hurt back in the day, or Charles Barkley or whoever, and put it into baseball terms, whoever you want to say, what superstar, Ken Griffey Jr. or somebody like that, they get hurt. There's a team trainer that looks at them. There's a team doctor that looks at them. There's also Michael Jordan or Ken Griffey Jr.'s doctor and trainer and everybody else and personal physician and strength coach and all of those people who have an opinion of it as well.
Yes.
So it's a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions with a lot of different motivations.
Totally.
Understand.
A manager wants to win. A player doesn't want to further injure themselves.
The team wants their athlete back out on the field.
They want their money being
right.
Worked for.
And the player, wants to be protected from maybe injuring themselves further. So it's an ongoing thing. My frustration is probably the same as almost everybody else's out there. Where's Yu Darvish? We keep hearing bullpen simulated. Bullpen simulated bullpen. Lake Elsinore bullpen.
He
Phoenix,
pitched 40 times with a break in the middle.
Seems like Yu Darvish has thrown 17,000 pitches in the last 2 months trying to get ready to come back. I would love to see him out on the mound.
They need him. At this point, going into the second half of the season, this is where they need him.
He doesn't need to make every start the rest of the season. Okay? But he needs to make a few right now. We don't have anyone to do it.
All right, Chris, we need to go to break. But when we get back here on the Skrello show, the Skraby and Ello show, we're going to talk about we've had 2 new lineups this week.
Hey,
so we'll talk about that
subject, Scrape.
when we get back
subject.
On 97.3 The Fan.
See website for details.
segment when we started the Skrilla show, Chris was out and about for some reason, and I was like, "This is kind of weird. Chris is always here on time. He's always in the studio when the segment starts." Blah blah blah. Dominic had a really funny point on the chat. He said Chris is probably roaming the hallways, saying "those darn kids" as you're walking around the building. You needing to calm yourself down.
I think I actually just had to use the restroom, and it came later in the break than I intended. By the way, Skraby, since he's telling stories about me in the break, Skraby has been doing more research than ever before on this second overall pick in the draft. He keeps searching for Dylan Harper, and I can't get him to stop.
Yeah, I got an email.
You want to explain yourself?
I got an email from our boss saying we've been alerted to your search history.
Dylan Harper,
okay,
who was the second pick tonight by the Spurs out of Rutgers, happens to have the same name apparently as an adult film star. That's really kind of ironic.
Dill.
Right, you spelled it differently, and
his name was actually Dylan.
Right. You came up with the adult film star.
As soon as I hit enter, and I was like, oh, this is not the place I wanted to be at work.
That's not the player from Rutgers.
This is not the place I wanted to be at work.
That's not Rutgers.
That's not Rutgers. But it is Ron Harper's son.
Dylan Harper, not the adult film star.
Not the female Dylan Harper, right. The male Dylan Harper.
Yeah, Ron Harper, the old Chicago Bull player and Cavalier and a few other teams. Great player, Ron Harper, back in the day, out of Miami, Ohio University.
Really?
I think Harper was about the 8th overall pick. I'm guessing, but it was around that. Back when he was chosen.
Oh, I gotta stop you for a second.
And now, real quick, his son beats him because his son was second pick.
Oh, come on, Malik,
right?
From Duke. Guess he grew up in Uganda.
Okay.
He was picked, 9th overall, I believe?
He was
picked 10th by the Rockets.
Pick.
And he's on the stage with Adam Silver doing the jersey thing, and he has tears just streaming down his face. I thought that was very, very nice. That's someone's dreams being realized.
Well, I think everybody's dreams. They don't all have to cry. Malik also played at Duke along with Kneppel and Flagg, which means that Duke had 3 of the top 10 picks this year, lost to Houston in the Final Four. Houston had none of the top 10 picks, so go figure that one. It does say here, and I don't follow this closely enough, but Malik was drafted by the Rockets. Player rights traded to Phoenix, so maybe he's a son. I don't know or care.
All right, let's get into the topic, and then
I
we
think
have the
he
big
is
five.
a son because I think this is part of the Kevin Durant trade. Durant went to the Rockets earlier this week.
It says proposed trade to Phoenix. Anyway.
Yes, right, because they're not official, even though they are official.
Okay.
Right.
NBA is weird in that way.
All right, talk about what you wanted to talk about here, because it's an interesting topic, and I think we're going to have to follow this closely going forward.
So we made a big deal out of it the other day when we saw Jackson come back on Sunday, and so it was Fernando at the top, Jackson, Manny, and then it went...
Arise was batting cleanup.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, duh. Now, today, they did a completely different lineup.
Before they got to today, I just want to point out to everybody that yesterday... or the Tuesday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday was the 3rd day that they used this lineup with Merrill batting second and Arise batting cleanup.
Yep.
Somebody on this show, I believe it was you, said the following after 2 games.
Oh, I love it.
You said, I love this lineup. I think it's great.
Hey, Tony said it's 2 games, but I like it too.
Well, okay, but let me also add, now that you guys both said that, apparently the Padres weren't too enamored with it because they changed it already.
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
And I kind of
What'd you think of what they did today?
Okay, so they put Arise in the leadoff spot. He went 3 for 4.
Yes, he did. And if he does that, he can stay there, but he has to do that.
And then they went with Manny Machado in the 2 spot.
They did.
Which is very interesting to me.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of this, of Manny Machado being in the 2 spot. Then you go Merrill 3rd, Tatis hitting cleanup today.
Yes, they keep switching around these top 4 guys. And I think, from my perspective, I don't know that any of them are better than any others. I just think they're going to keep probably doing this until they find something that starts to really click. Because they're just looking for something now. That's what I believe. I don't believe there's like a necessary strategy.
No, I don't think so either.
Lefty, righty. I did notice today's lineup, though, did go left, right, almost the whole way. I think the whole way down.
Let's see, left, right, left, right. Is Bryce Johnson lefty?
He's right.
So right, left,
right.
So
Diaz
for the
right.
first like 6 guys, it's left, right, left,
anyway,
right.
So yes, they're trying to do that. But beyond that, I just think that they just are looking for something that's going to start clicking and give them 6 or 7 runs a game on a more consistent basis, because this team in general has not hit well.
Now, let me ask you this. Luis Ariz goes 3 for 4 today. Manny, no hits. Jackson, no hits.
Jackson hit one to the wall that was brought back again today. A second time in 3 games he's homered, and it hasn't been a homer.
That is a bummer for my
Although
fantasy
today
team.
might have been a half step short, but it was close.
Fernando, no hits. Sheets, no hits. Iglesias, no hits. Bryce
Right.
Johnson, 1 hit. Tyler Wade, no hits. Diaz, 2 hits.
So basically the lineup change worked for Ariz and nobody else is what
And
you're
Diaz.
saying. Yeah, Diaz batted where he always bats.
But if Ariz could get on base 2-3 times a game and you get Manny or Jackson Merrill to drive him in, then that's going to work. And that's what happened last year. I don't understand why they went away from it after it being successful last year.
All right. I just think they're searching for something that's going to work. And I think that you can have all the analytics in the world and break down BAPIPs and every darn thing you want to break down. These 4 guys, are their stars. And they're going to determine, we talked about this already. The season is going to hinge on whether Manny, Fernando, Merrill, Ariz do the job.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Jake, I really believe, and he sat out today. Bogart sat out today, and they were just
Bogarts was
resting.
scratched, actually.
Okay, scratched because of the shoulder.
Yeah.
He hurt the other night diving into home plate. But my bottom line, these guys, to me, are going to give you about what they've been giving you, maybe a little more. I don't expect either to all of a sudden turn into Stan Musial or Robin Yount or whoever you might want to say. But the top 4 are going to have to do it. And I think that the Padres are going to keep moving them around until they find what works. I'll tell you, if one day they put Manny lead off and they put,
that would be
whatever
crazy.
they do. I'm just saying.
Shohei's a leadoff hitter. Kyle Schwarber's a leadoff hitter.
If they put Manny first and they score 7 runs, they're going to put Manny first again. They're going to keep doing this, I think, till they find something. I really believe that.
Lineup from Game 1 of the 2024 NLDS between the Padres and the Dodgers
last year.
Okay. Luis Ariz first, Fernando second, Profar third, Manny Machado 4th, Jackson Merrill 5th, and then the rest is kind of the same. But I would think because you lost Profar, that's where Merrill goes. But I like Merrill in the 2 spot. I do. I know it goes lefty, and it goes against the left, right thing, but I like him in the 2 spot. I like Manny in the 3 spot. I'm fine with Fernando in the cleanup spot. But he has to start cleaning up.
What you just said you liked, they didn't do. They put Manny second and Merrill third.
Oh, I know. That's what I'm saying. I want Merrill second. I want Manny third, and I'm okay with Fernando
So
fourth.
then you're going to have 2 lefties and then 2 righties.
Which goes against the perceived strategy.
Here's why it goes against it, because the Dodgers in particular continue to destroy them by matching up the bullpen. Gavin Sheets, Jackson Merrill, Luis Ariz, Jake Cronenworth, those 4 left-handed hitters. When they play the Dodgers, it seems like those 4 guys never face anybody but a tough lefty. It is uncanny that Dave Roberts is able to pull this off every time. And I believe that that's getting, that gets Schilt to react to try to switch things around so they can't do that to them.
You have to block it a little bit.
Those 4 guys can get a hit off a lefty, don't get me wrong, but none of them are as effective. It's just the way the world goes. So they keep trying to switch the lefty-righty thing. The Padre lineup, we're 80 games into the season. Friday is the halfway point.
Yes.
Still needs work. And if you don't believe me, see what they've been doing the last 5 days.
Yeah.
They must believe it needs work as well. They wouldn't be switching it up all the time.
Yeah, they definitely think it needs work because you're right. They wouldn't switch it up if it was working. I'm trying to figure. Okay, so Fernando in the cleanup spot in his career, he has good numbers: 326, 12 home runs, 39 RBIs.
Well, he's good.
1.060 OPS.
He should be able to hit wherever he is, and I think he will.
If he's in the third spot, he's never really hit in 14 games, but the other two, and he's only hit in 41 games in the fourth spot, but the other two, he's 295 in the first spot in his career.
Well, he's down to 260 now this year.
I know. I mean,
Is Manny under 300 yet? I bet he is.
Oh, after today's little.
No, I'm just saying he's been trending down for quite a while.
Wow.
Where's he at? Because he was at 330 there about a month ago.
Over there.
I'm not a doomer. I'm just telling you what, I'm just
298.
Well, he's below 300.
You know what? See, this is why it's good that the team has been able to pick him up because he was carrying the team. Last 15 games, he's only been hitting 213. Last 7 games, he's only been hitting 172. But if you're taking the last 7 games, the last 6 games in the series, they won 4 of them. So they're picking him up.
Bottom line, lineup is going to continue to be played with until they're happy. They haven't found happy yet. Today, Luis Ariz seemed to find happy, 3 for 4. But like you said, none of the next 5 guys got a hit.
It's pretty bad. So pretty bad for that. But they ended up still winning because of a guy who everybody wanted off the team a couple weeks ago, Luis Ariz.
All right, don't go anywhere, Skraby. During the break, the Bulls are on the clock.
Oh, they're going to mess this up.
But no question, and we'll tell you how when we come back.
And the Big Five.
Important topics and questions are brought to light.
Stop what you're doing and listen.
These news stories will astound and amaze you. The one, the only.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
The Big Five starts now on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, so we have a lot here in the Big Five today, including Barry Bonds might get a statue. Ketel Marte, this whole thing with him last night was really, really upsetting to a lot of people.
It was. And did you say what? Barry Bonds might get a statue?
Yes, might get
and
a statue.
You get a statue.
And you get a statue. And you get a statue.
Yeah, everybody.
We have our first participant in the home run derby. It has been announced. And then there's someone trying to do something by sailing from San Diego to somewhere very far away. And I got to tell you about it because it's insane and it freaks me out. So that's where we're at with that.
Number 5.
Sorry, I didn't prepare for this correctly. So there we go. Spencer Strider, pitcher for the Braves last night, faced off against the Mets. By the way, 97 degrees at first pitch last night at Citi Field for the Mets.
And I bet you at least that humidity too.
Oh,
so.
Chris, I will never forget the time we went to Cooperstown, but we stopped off at a Mets game. We took the subway there. I was sweating buckets waiting for the subway because it was so hot in that place.
It gets warm.
Anyway, Spencer Strider strikes out Juan Soto. Juan Soto, very upset with the call. Did not like the call. Turned around to the umpire, said no way kind of thing.
Yeah.
Was making demonstrative moves.
Right.
Spencer Strider walks back to his dugout, and I would play the video, but you can't really hear it as well on the radio, so go look for this video. But he says, ball's right down the middle. Ball's right down the middle. And then he says it a third time. Ball's right down the middle.
Fair enough.
So he had
Can I
no
ask you
qualms.
something? Where was it?
It was a strike,
but not right
I don't
down
know
the
if
middle.
it was right down the middle,
Okay,
but it was definitely a strike.
Okay.
And so my question to you, Chris, is they're in division. They're going to see each other again. Juan Soto's a very dangerous hitter. Do you think it's a bad idea to talk trash to Juan Soto as a pitcher?
You're asking me personally. That's not something I would do. Although
you like it because he did say it to Juan Soto.
Well, I don't like to try to give anybody any extra bulletin board material as a pitcher because to me it's already hard enough to get these guys out. But having said that, I can certainly understand why somebody like Spencer Strider or anybody for that matter who's out there competing in the heat of the moment and they buzz a fastball in there,
strike you out,
and you then turn around and give them basically no credit
that you threw a good pitch.
Right. You're basically telling the ump, that was a terrible pitch. How can you call that a strike? I can understand why Spencer Strider says, hey, dude, it was right there.
Right there.
So I can understand him saying what he said. But it's not my favorite, like I said, to do the bulletin board thing.
I do.
I get it.
No, I went and looked at the StatCast.
Right.
The pitch does touch the zone, but it doesn't. When you're watching it, it doesn't look as questionable as it actually is on this little StatCast right
Well,
here.
what you're trying to tell me, though, is it was close enough to swing at, and Soto didn't swing at it. He deserved to strike out.
Look, it's right on the bottom corner. And
strike.
And
swing
it was
at the bat.
It was three. It was already a full count.
Now,
so
I have no. Look. You know me. I grew again. I was talking to, I hate to drop his name, but I hang out with him in the press box. So I talk about Mike Winters, the former ump. And we talked about this exact thing today. And I told Mike that when I played, again, back in the dark ages, but if you took a called third strike on a close pitch, to me, that was on you. You should be swinging to protect the plate. But I understand things have changed. And now if the ball's 1 milliliter off the plate, batters don't swing at it, and they wait for the ump to, give them ball 4.
Yeah.
Well, they don't always do it because it's an imperfect thing back there. And
in the heat of the moment, it looked like a really easy pitch for Juan Soto to decide to swing at, but he didn't. Anyway.
What I like is Spencer Strider sticking up for himself, honestly, and saying, look, you're trying to tell the whole stadium here that was a terrible pitch and the ump blew it. I'm here to tell you that it was right there, and you should have just swung at it, so I don't want to hear it. It was a good pitch.
I do like trash talking, and I do like creating rivalries, which just kind of would create in a division, which is Mets and Braves.
Right.
You just better never make a bad pitch to Juan Soto ever again, because he'll crush it.
He will, but you know what? Don't get me started on Juan Soto.
No, I think Spencer Strider, this was fun. This was very fun.
Number 4.
Now, Barry Bonds, not a Hall of Famer. I almost called him a Hall of Famer. He's not a Hall of Famer, but CEO of the Giants, Larry Baer, says that Barry Bonds is deserving of a statue. So he was
outside the stadium. Are we talking about?
Yes, he was on, and he was doing an interview with our sister station, 95.7 The Game in San Francisco. Said, quote, on the radar, I would say on the radar, Barry is certainly deserving of a statue, and I would say should be next up. We don't have the exact location and the exact date and exact timing. He said, it's coming. All I can say, the statue is coming. So sounds like this is going to happen. You have any issues with, or I guess I'm up first. Do you have any issues with Barry Bonds getting a statue? No, absolutely not. Barry Bonds should get a statue.
Homer.
Yes.
But
I do feel like this is a little bit of publicly driven. I feel like
myopic Bay Area homerism.
I feel like I'm just going to keep moving forward.
You're going to charge on.
I feel like this is a little bit of publicly driven, because they could have put up a Barry Bonds statue for the last 20 years if they wanted to, or 15 years if they wanted to, but they haven't. So all of a sudden fans are starting to be like, hey, we need to celebrate Barry Bonds more. And now all of a sudden a statue's coming. I don't think that they want to do this. I really don't, but they're going to, and I think it's a good thing.
So you think the fans are pushing for it?
I think that the Giants are hearing from the fans, because Barry Bonds not being in the Hall of Fame and getting a statue is like strange, right? You only get a statue if you're in the Hall of Fame. So they're going to put up a statue of someone who's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, Barry Bonds is in my Hall of Fame, and I think
counts.
I think he's in the Hall of Fame of most Giant people, fans and organization.
I think he's in the Hall of Fame
people.
of a lot of people, except for the people that vote for the Hall of Fame.
Well, he played in an era where that's what was going on, but he was so superior that I'm willing to, just give him the benefit of the doubt and say if he never, took anything, he still would have been the greatest hitter I've ever seen. So I don't have an issue personally, and I think for San Francisco it's fine. But at the same time, they're gonna take some criticism for this by the holier than thou people out there who can't stand anybody who cheated the game, and there are a lot of people who feel way strong about that. They're usually people that have never done anything wrong in their entire lives.
Oh, of course. That's how it always goes.
Right.
By the way, Emma Key said, will the statue have an asterisk?
Well, since you said that funny joke, you had to give him the Kirk Kenny line earlier.
Oh, Kirk
was
Kenny asked
listening.
me what Yu Darvish's record is in simulated games.
Yeah, that was funny, Kirk. Good one.
It was. We have to laugh.
It only hurts when you laugh. And Yu Darvish pitched another simulated game today, and it's like, enough. Why are you going to pitch a game?
Number 3.
Now, this is really sad, and we don't know what was said to Ketel Marte, but last night in the 7th inning between the Diamondbacks and the White Sox, Ketel Marte was visibly shaken and was sobbing on the field during a pitching change. So Torey Lovello came out and comforted him. But here is what Torey said after the game, and then I have a small update on what Torey Lovello told that fan.
I have to go to Ketel Marte. There was obviously a very emotional scene out there, and we know how close you are with him. What can you share with us?
It was a terrible moment. Fans are nasty, and fans go too far sometimes. And I love my players, and I'm going to protect them.
Your protection starts way before today, though. You guys go so far. We were talking on the air. I know you're a father figure to him, are you not?
Right. Yeah. I've known Ketel for 9 years, and he's had some unbelievably great moments and some hardships as well, and some really, really tough moments in his life. And I know those. And at the end of the day, we're human beings and we have emotions, and I saw him hurting and I want to protect him.
Somebody said something about his family from what I read. Is that right? Or
about
not?
his people are assuming it's about his mother who passed away in a car crash in 2017.
Wow. Okay.
And Ketel Marte was on the field crying.
Yes, he was.
And I love that Torey Lovullo did this. Now here's the what Torey Lovullo did. There's video of it now because of course you have to have video and everybody does this, but he comes back in the dugout and he's looking at the fan. He's trying to tell the fan, or trying to get attention to eject that fan from it. But he uses very strong language, and I kind of agree with this. He called the fan a dumb bleep and telling the fan to get the bleep out of there. The fan has since been banned from all MLB stadiums. Now, I don't really know what to ask about this because we've talked about this so many times. So many times. So I don't know what to ask, Chris. I don't.
You don't have to. We're gonna keep spotlighting these stories. Not spotlight. I don't like that.
We're gonna
makes it
keep
sound good.
bringing them to.
We're gonna keep
front.
talking about it until the fans get the message that this is not acceptable. And I don't know that we're gonna be able to change it. Marte didn't comment after the game. It's still not publicly known exactly what was said.
It had to be bad. You're making a major leaguer
couple of things
cry on the field.
Couple of things. Major League Baseball, which normally doesn't do stuff right, did something right here.
Yeah.
They have banned this fan from every stadium ever.
Yes.
So thank you to MLB. Also, congrats. Thanks to the White Sox. Unless this is a fake account, but it says Chicago White Sox, so I'm going to go with it. They posted a nice shot of Ketel Marte with the White Sox scoreboard behind him, and it says baseball is family. The White Sox community supports Ketel Marte.
All right, I love that.
So this is something that everyone in baseball, in the world where we're not together on very much, right?
Yeah.
This is something where everyone in baseball is going to support everyone, and they should. And we're going to continue to until, hopefully someday, it doesn't keep getting worse and worse. But baseball, I think, did all they could, right?
Oh, yeah. But
this fan is never allowed to go to any game. I like that. Maybe you can, I don't know, can you do something legal about it? I don't know.
No, you can't. But this made me extremely angry this morning because not only is that person just a bad human being, but that person is using something that is so hurtful to Ketel Marte because they think it's fun, because they think it's cool. It's not cool. It's not fun. You look like an idiot. You will always be an idiot for saying stuff like this. Baseball is a sport. It's supposed to be fun. And you got a White Sox fan talking about Ketel Marte's dead mom. That is alarming to me about what society has happening right now. That's alarming, Chris.
The unfortunate thing is this is not the only example of this kind of thing. And we just have to handle it and try to, I think 99.99% of us are well above it. And we got to make sure that we don't get ever brought down to that.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's all we can honestly do. And I would think, even though this didn't need to happen in this case, I would think any White Sox fan in the neighborhood of that fan would have moved to have somebody come eject this fan. And, because people are going to, I believe people are by and large good. I do. We spend too much time focusing on the bad ones, right? There's no article today about the people who jump up and cheer Ketel Marte and, appreciate everything he does. But there is an article about the one person who does this.
But I think
That's
it's
just
right
the way
to bring
we
it up on the
operate.
show so that we can make people aware that this stuff is not okay. And what's even worse to me?
What?
Obviously, I don't know who did this. Obviously, he's not going to make himself known, or she. But this person probably finds this really fun and really funny. Like their newfound fame is like really great.
According to the story by Jesse Rogers and ESPN today, the 22-year-old fan, very apologetic, remorseful.
Oh God!
I'm
Stop!
reading it. All right. Well, can I read it to you, and then you can go crazy? He was remorseful after the fact, admitted to being very inappropriate and stupid with his comments. look, maybe the guy was just, I hate to tell you, but maybe just drank way too much and said something stupid.
He's
going to pay the price for that. And he's not allowed into a game anymore. And I hope that, but we can't tell people to think before, look before they leap, because alcohol tends to make people very brave sometimes. I'm not saying alcohol was at work here, but it seems like it was.
I know.
Me.
And you know what? Even at my drunkest, Chris, I never would say anything like this. It doesn't even matter, because I wouldn't go there, because that's just not even on a human level at that point. And if this person is remorseful, I'm so tired of the, oh, I'm so sorry. You got banned from every stadium in baseball. That's why you're sorry. It really bothers me that we're just like, oh, there's remorseful. Okay, it's cool.
Well,
it's not cool. You're a dumb person and you're a mean person.
Aren't all the people that drive 120 miles an hour and kill somebody because they're racing them feel remorseful? They do.
Yeah, but they also pay the price.
Yes, they do.
They pay the price. But I'm tired of people doing. I get what you're saying.
Don't do it in the first place.
That's a really good actual explanation, because I get what you're saying. But this is someone who had a choice as to whether or not to yell something to Ketel Marte.
And those people have a choice to, whether to travel that fast and endanger themselves and others. And they're all okay until something happens. Yes. Then, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
All right, we got
number 2.
We tell you this because hopefully you will tell the next person, look,
everybody, just be nice to each other.
Well, yeah, we're trying.
We're not gonna have time.
What number are we on?
We're on 2, but
we
we're
have
gonna
2 stories in 1 minute.
Yeah,
gonna make it.
We're actually just gonna. Okay, so we don't really need anything on this one, but Ronald Acuna Jr. is the first player to enter the home run derby.
Thank goodness for that.
Yes, and then the man who's taking off from San Diego, he is attempting to sail to Oahu, Hawaii. So
by himself
on a catamaran with no cover whatsoever. He said if he falls over, he's got to tip it back over on his own.
Let me just
it's supposed to take 17 days.
Can I add to this?
What?
The guy we play golf with, John?
Yeah.
You played with us before?
Yeah.
John is our guy, John Campbell. He's my man, best buddy. He runs the Mission Bay Yacht Club here in San Diego, where he's the head general manager of the place.
Uh-huh.
The guy you're talking about who's sailing to Oahu.
Yeah.
Took off from the Mission Bay Yacht Club yesterday.
Okay.
John Campbell was there to see him off.
Well, that's cool.
And wish him the best.
I think that guy's crazy, though.
So I think it's funny that these 2 stories collided.
That is funny. I think it's crazy, though. And I also am very surprised it only takes 17 to 21 days to sail to Hawaii. I really do.
It does, because my friend in college did it with his brother and his dad once.
That's scary,
in a smaller than a catamaran. I think it was just a sailboat. They went all the way to Hawaii, the 3 of them.
Why? I guess.
I don't know, but when my friend got back from Hawaii, he lost like 100 pounds.
I bet.
There was only so much room for
There's
food
no
on the boat.
McDonald's on the way.
There was only so much room for food on the boat. They had to ration.
Good point. All right, we went way past our time. Tomorrow, roundtable, 10 a.m. Ben Wood start at 6 a.m. Chris, Tony, and myself start at 2 p.m. Talk to you tomorrow.
San Diego